Oh, hi guys, good afternoon, happy Sunday. Today we are going to be going over replacing the screen on the Panasonic FZ200. These are actually really good cameras. I do enjoy them, but they do eventually wear out. They're quite old, being introduced way the hell back in 2014. So we're going to be going over screen replacement today. I looked around YouTube, I couldn't really find a lot of videos that were kind of like satisfactory. They were either way too panned out, or they would be too dark, or there would be all kinds of things that would make them a pain in the ass to watch. And so I'd read the comments and stuff, and a lot of people were like, I can't do this, I can't do this. So what I would actually like to do is attempt to do it today. So my 200 is actually rather old. I wasn't its first owner and stuff. The previous owner that I had purchased this camera from, a nice lady, but didn't really take care of it too well. As you can see, most of the screen has really deep gouges in it. Now I've already ordered my replacement screen, but it's not going to be here for a hot minute. So what I wanted to do is take this time to show everybody how to replace it and stuff, because if I was just putting the screen in myself, I would just, in and out on with life. So I wanted to take time to show folks how it's done, more or less. It's not a difficult process. I mean, it seems kind of daunting because you're just, replacing this, but it's not a super hard thing. So we are going to start with the basics. We're going to just remove these. We're going to remove these Phillips head screws. You're going to need a 00 Phillips bit for this. There's one here, one here, one here, and one here. So don't be afraid to grab your screwdriver. You're going to have to lean it out a little bit. It's not going to be the most comfortable. Oh. There you go. Take it up. Leave it there. And then you go. Lift it up. Don't be afraid of using your two fingers and wrapping it around the lens barrel to brace the camera. You don't want to accidentally drop it. So this camera's a little bit on the heavier side. It's definitely one of the heavier babies, but I'd kind of expect nothing less from a bridge camera. Go ahead and take that screw out and place it to the side. Then we're going to flip it around to the other side. You're going to notice there's two right here. Get a nice firm grip on it. And oop. Blind repairs, am I right? And then get it in there. Slowly but surely, you gotta be kind of gentle with it. The housing that the screen is attached to is really not the best. It's probably some of the softer plastic I've seen in my life. So we go ahead and we get the screws out. Little bananas. Oh, got a screw over there. So from there, you're gonna have this little section here where the clasp on the inside holds everything together. And so you're going to want to be gentle with it, mind you. And you're going to want to take a pick and you want to gently force it apart. You just want to run it along the edge. You have to be careful with it because these clasps do break relatively easily. The housing for this is really not the best. So, and you want to make sure you have a firm grip on it as well, because it's only a little tiny plastic piece that's holding this together, and then the arm is this very thin metal piece, if you would. So you go and you just run it around. Take your time with it. It's not a race or anything. You just go, you take your time, you run it around. You flip it over if you have to, and then you just go and run it up here. You go, you run it across. It's going to fight you a little bit. It's not going to be the easiest thing in the world. The important thing is, though, is to get under there and you can just go and jimmy it and jimmy it and jimmy it and jimmy it until you get to where you need to be. So it's important to just keep running it around, essentially getting underneath all those little clasps and stuff, and as you go you just keep progressively forcing it up. So you go and you see you have all these little plastic clasps right here, and then when you go and they just pop off, you have to be careful with it because as you can see there is a tiny little ribbon cable, and you do not want to rip this cable at all. So naturally we're not going to be replacing the screen while this ribbon cable is attached. So you're going to want to reach in with your spudger, pull gently. That clasp comes right on up. It disconnects it from the rest of the camera. We're able to go and set the camera to the side, and we are left with the actual screen itself. Now, this next portion is literally the hardest portion out of the entire camera repair. So I've already bothered to disassemble this once and, you know, take the housing apart and everything else to clean it. I wanted to have it nice and prepped, but getting the screen out of here is actually a really huge chronic raging pain in the ass. Like, it is the hardest portion. So what you're going to want to do is take a smaller flathead screwdriver, which I'm not going to be doing for this video, but you're going to notice there's these little friction clamps here. There's one here, there's another one here, and then you flip it over and there's partial ones here, here, and full ones here and here. You want to go and you want to take the Phillips head, you want to gently place it here, make sure it fits in the hole, and you want to gently lift up with it, and it'll push that little bump past the frame, and you just do it for each. Eventually this entire assembly will slide out, but to get it out all the way you're going to have to do a little bit of extra maintenance, and you're going to have to undo the clasp here. So you just reach in, you know, you pop the top, you pull the ribbon cable out, and then you gently lift the screen up, lift it up, lift it out, you place the new one in, you take the old ribbon cable, you wrap it around, you plug it in, you push the clasp down, and you're pretty much good to go. So we're not going to be bothering to take the screen out because it is a chronic raging pain in my ass, and I am not a fan of any of it. So you'll notice that the arm for this is actually rather paper thin. You know, there's not really a lot holding on to it. It's just literally 2 screws, a little bit of metal, and then of course that ribbon cable. So you have to be rather careful with it, because if you rip any of this, you're screwed. You know, you can't really get replacements for it anymore. You'd have to replace the whole camera. They just, as far as I could tell on eBay, they just don't sell this little segment anymore. So from there, what you would typically do is you would go and start the reassembly process. Just go, put the screen in, you know, make sure it's nice and snug in that housing, and then from there you go and you, oh man, oh yeah, no, I'm just filming this, but you go from there and you can twist it if you want to. I personally prefer to, but you can go twist it up, and it's important to kind of sandwich it between these little screws here. You go, you take your thumb, you gently push it up, make sure everything's in there nice and tight. Then you go and you just gently push it down. So from there, reassembly is rather easy. You go, you get the other side of the housing, and you just, upside down, you just go and you snap it on. It's not super difficult. You know, you just go, snap, snap, crunch, crunch, and then from there you would just go and put the screws back in. So go ahead and turn it around. I will go ahead and pop the screws back in when this video is over. But it's not a difficult repair. It seems very difficult. The 2 major issues that you're going to have doing this repair is making sure you do not break the plastic clamps across the top and the bottom. Realistically, once the screws are out, you only have to go and release the plastic clamps on the top. Once you do, the bottom just swings right on out. It's not that bad. So Hopefully I was able to do this better than the other videos that I found on YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and flick it on. As you can see, screen works, right as rain. It's not hard, don't be afraid of it. If you're having problems with your screen, go ahead and order a $20 screen off of eBay. You can have it here relatively easily. These are still good cameras, even though they're considered vintage by today's standards. So thank you for coming out. I hope you guys were able to learn a little bit something today. I hope I was able to do it well enough for you guys to follow along and learn from. And until next time.